Let's go back to this fare increase for a second here. You've noted that this is the first time Metro has ever applied a differential between those who pay cash and those who use smart trip cards. What's the aim of doing this?
Actually, it isn't the first time, Kojo. We did it on bus. The last time around that we did fare increases, we did put a differential in there between those who use smart trip cards and those who use cash. And one of the reasons for that is we can be far more effective if people use a smart trip card to board a bus than if they're feeding dollars and coins into a fare box. We extended that now to our rail system because, again, we can move people through the system far more effectively, and we do have large crowds of people. So this is an opportunity to encourage people to move towards our smart trip card, and we're seeing that that's happening.
Let me ask about the fare increase in terms of what riders are going to get for this fare increase. A lot of them say that they'd be willing to pay more in fares as long as the service improved, as long as there were some improvements in what was being delivered. I mean, some issues that have come up are, getting the people in who work in Metro to be more polite and less rude and more responsive when people go in there, getting the elevators and especially the escalators fixed, reducing absenteeism on the part of Metro. I mean, what are you doing to try to improve your performance now that they've given you this money?
Well, I think improving our performance is something we are always working on. And this isn't a tit-for-tat thing. It isn't if we increase fares, we will improve our performance. We will always improve our performance. It's always something we need to do. We are working very hard on increasing the reliability of our system, on increasing the reliability of our escalators and elevators, but it's an extremely difficult problem. Among the things that we're doing is we're doing performance reviews for our new train operators every 30 days, every 60 days, every 90 days, to make sure that they are, in fact, doing what they should do and that they are good operators. We're replacing some of our older buses, about 150 older buses. We've implemented our Next Bus system so that people get better information about when buses will arrive. We've enhanced our driver training, and we put cameras in the vehicles in our Metro Access system so that we can make sure that people really do get good service. We've consolidated our supervision for elevators and escalators to try to improve accountability, and we've just hired a consultant to take another look. We do this regularly. Take another look at that entire program of maintenance and say, are we really doing everything we can, and is there something more we can do?
All of which sounds good, but when I walk over to Metro and the escalator is not working, that means absolutely nothing to me. What guarantees can you offer that the average Metro Rail or Metro bus rider will have an improved experience?
I can't offer any guarantees, very honestly, Kojo. What happens is, and let's be very honest about this, we've got about 600 escalators. Those escalators were put in 30 years ago. They have an expected life, about 20 years. So most of them are much, much older than they really should be. Almost every manufacturer of the escalators that we have in is no longer in business, so we can't get spare parts. So what happens is when an escalator breaks down, we've got to go in there, open it up, and there are thousands of parts in there. And when we find what's broken, if we don't happen to have that in stock, and that's hard to do because there's so many different parts, well, we have no place to turn other than to actually make the part and then replace it. So it's a really, really difficult process. And so you say, well, why don't you just replace them all? Well, these things were originally put in, again, as I said, 30 years ago when there wasn't any system running. It was really easy to just drop an escalator in. Now you have a running system and you have to take the parts and essentially build an escalator below ground, and you have to find somebody who makes an escalator like that. When we did that one time, we put in a series of escalators, we found that they didn't work as well as the ones that were really, really old.